Welcome back to another episode of That's Business. This week is a little special for Mother's Day because I have the one and only individual that gave me life, my mom, AnnMarie. Thank you so much, Mom, for agreeing to this podcast. I feel like we've been saying we should be on a talk show and grant everyone with our thoughts on everything. So here we are doing it. Today, we're going to talk about a variety of things. You can be 100% open and honest with me. That's what we want. So let's hear it. First of all, I want to talk about how, and just a little background on you, obviously, that you got into the travel industry so young. How old were you when you started? What were you doing? How the hell did you get into it?
I think I was 17 or 18 possibly. When I graduated high school, a friend of mine was getting recruited by a travel school down in Florida, and they ended up calling on me also, and off we went. We said, well, we got nothing to lose, so we decided to take a chance, and our parents said go for it. We moved down to Fort Lauderdale. It was only a few months for travel school, and lived together in an apartment at 17 years old, I think, maybe 18. I don't think so. I'm thinking 17. So we had a great time. It was a good experience. We got to see the Chippendales down there, just saying.
Aging yourself here.
Yeah. But that's it. That's how I got into it. When I came back from travel school, I started working for a land surveying company and just filling in for, I think, one of your grandmother's friends who worked there. And all of a sudden, this travel agency called me and said, hey, I have your resume. I had no idea. To this day, I still have no idea how they got my resume. But they said they would go ahead and interview me if I wanted a job, and started out delivering airline tickets.
Delivering. Okay, I think you've told me about this. So, like delivering them to businesses that would hire you guys to book their travel, or how did that work?
So the travel agency was the third largest travel agency in the world, and
Dang.
they specialized in corporate travel. That's pretty much what it was. They did have, other travel entities to their business, but it was basically corporate travel. So we did. I don't want to drop names. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that or not. But
you could do whatever you want on this podcast. There's no rules.
We did like Stroh's Brewery, Little Caesars, big companies like that. So wherever they traveled, even there was even people that did their personal travel, even though it was a corporate travel agency. But anytime they had business travel, that's what we did. We booked their travel. We did not do the Red Wings because Mickey Redman has his own travel agency, and he's the one that they fly on. I'm just saying.
Oh, fun fact. I didn't know that either.
Yes.
I wonder, is that still the case now?
Yes.
Do you even know?
Yes.
That is?
I believe so.
Oh, that's so funny. That's hilarious.
Yep.
So how did you get them as clients? Were they more so, did you have to go out and close this business, or was it more, hey, they called upon the company you worked for and you like move forward with them?
Well, I started out delivering tickets at $4.75 an hour. I got paid 10 cents a mile for gas, I believe. I'm guessing it was probably in 1986.
Right.
So I was not a happy person to be doing this. I kind of did it just to get my foot in the door and see what would happen, because I certainly didn't want to be delivering tickets. And to me, it was something that was I don't want to say a meaningless job, but in my head, I had better plans than driving around delivering tickets. So that's what I did. I don't want to say complained my way to the top, but probably I worked in that department. I delivered tickets. There's other things that were involved, obviously, in that department, right. But for the most part, we delivered tickets. That was back in the day where you actually had to print out tickets, sort the tickets, put them with actually paper itineraries, bound them up. And so it was a big old project back in the day. Basically, after I did that, it was probably maybe a few months later, they kept me inside. So I wasn't no longer on the road. I was doing other things in the department. And then I kind of complained to the VP who was in our office. And I said, listen, this is I have no ambition to do any of this. Like there's my talents are being wasted here. So it's time we move it around and get me to be where I want to be. And he said, well, I agree. Let's bring you in and kind of have you float for a while. Well, the company was in the middle of doing an expansion in
Mhm.
Southfield. So we went from a 30-person office to a 200-person office, or 175
Jesus.
around there. So because of the expansion, I think it was easier for me to get my foot in a different door.
Right.
And before you know it, I was floating around. I was floating. Some days I worked in accounting. Some days I worked in, we had a small vacation group there. Sometimes I worked in vacation. I just kind of bounced all over. Sometimes I just proofread for the VP or did proofread for proposals that were going out to different clients. And then I ended up being the supervisor of the original department that I started in, which was ticketing or deliveries, and went from there. And I stayed in the company till I got married.
So how was it being such a, because what were you, 19 years old, 18? I mean, I don't know the
Yeah.
timeline here, but I wasn't alive yet. But how old were you and what was it like being such a young supervisor?
I was probably 19, maybe 20 when I was a supervisor. And the department was pretty young. I mean, there was definitely people under me that were older than me, but for them, I always had a authority to me, I guess, that or bitchiness, I'm not sure what you call it, that 10 people, I didn't have a problem with telling people what to do, put it that way. I still don't.
Okay, I love that. Were you taken seriously being so young? Did you have any? I mean, of course, I'm sure somebody had some problem with you, but did that ever happen, or was it more you're tenacious and said, "Hey, this is what's happening, and respect me"?
Well, I mean, of course, sometimes before I was a supervisor and I was in the ticketing office, my boss at the time had I don't want to say an attitude problem, but he was I have to have my coffee before I can say hi to anybody.
Oh,
And I just thought it was a terrible way to, be. And I would come in and say, oh, good morning. And he would sit there with his coffee and not want to say anything. So one day I walked in and he didn't say anything back to me. And I finally, after this was like an everyday situation, I finally went, and it kind of brought the morale down of the department. And there was like
of
9 of us
course.
in the department. So I just thought that was kind of a bad way to be. So I went above his head and went to his boss and said, hey, this is the deal. I don't appreciate coming in every morning to a miserable boss who's supposed to be sitting here leading by example, who won't even look at you unless he has his cup of coffee and literally will tell you, don't talk to me till I have my coffee. So, of course, I believe it was the next day, my boss called me into one of the offices because he didn't have an office. He sat on the floor with us. And he
Hmm.
called me into an office and shut the door. And I went, uh oh, I know what this is
Whoops.
about. So he said, why wouldn't you just come to me? Why would you go behind my back and go to my boss and complain about my behavior? And I said, well, because I'm tired of telling you, I think your behavior is ridiculous on the floor because you're supposed to be leading by example. So why
Right.
would I go to you when I've said it to you before and nothing's been done about it? I said, I'm not the only one that says it. I'm just the only one who has the nerve to say it
The
to
guts
somebody
to do
else.
it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Right. And then he changed his tune after that. And then he fluttered around like a little butterfly every day after that.
I wonder why things happen to me and why I became the way that I am. This is all coming together here. It's crazy.
It's not a bad thing.
Now, it's not a bad thing. We love it for us.
Right.
What would you say? I mean, having traveled to so many different places, what is your favorite place you've been to?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, I have to say Italy but there's so much more to see that I don't know. I just have to say Italy because I've been there 3 times and I love it. I love every aspect of
Why?
it. I think
What
it's
aspects
because
do you
it's
love?
part of our life. It's part of our
It
heritage.
is.
We have family there. I mean, the
Hmm.
history there is unbelievable. I, I just love it.
The
I have to
food
go
is a
back.
beautiful.
Beautiful, very beautiful.
I know we're going to retire there, remember? We're going to buy
Yes,
a house on the countryside.
yes.
Exactly. Going forward with the travel stories, what's the craziest travel story you've had? I'm sure you got lots. You could say whatever. Just remember, I'm your daughter. I don't need to know all those crazy details there. But
Yeah.
Tell the good people.
You're over 21 now. I would say, I mean, I don't have anything crazy, nothing, no dead bodies
Live.
or anything, but.
Well, you can't say that on a live podcast. Come on.
So I would say when a friend of mine, Carol, and I went to Switzerland. And
oh, I was alive for this one.
Yes. We went to Switzerland and thought that it was we were in an all expenses paid trip, and we were staying at this beautiful hotel. So we decided every day was this little gathering downstairs for like hors d'oeuvres and
happy hour.
Yeah, exactly. For this group.
Right.
So we did what we had to do and showed our faces and whatever, but then we're like, we need to get out of here because there has got to be something else going on more exciting. So
right.
We wandered out the door, and the first day, I think it was, we went to the right, and right next to our hotel, connected to the building, was this little tiny hole in the wall, super cute, whatever. We go in there. There's like a 10-to-1 ratio of men, like young guys, and we're like, wow, like we hit the jackpot. What is going on in here? Well, sure enough, there was a Pirelli's tire convention.
Oh, yeah, I know Pirelli's.
So these guys all worked for Pirelli. So that was entertaining. That was exciting. But that wasn't the travel story. The next day, we decided to take a left out of the hotel, and we found some other bar. It literally was a door, but we had heard music, so we're like, meh, let's give it a try, see what happens. We go in this place, and it's I don't want to say a disco, but it was this rocking little place. I mean, the
hole in the wall.
Yeah. It was packed. It was packed, and we go in there, and music's playing. There's people dancing. There's people, partying, and it's strictly a bar. We're going to order a drink, and all they have is bottle service. Well,
at this little hole in the wall.
It wasn't a hole in the wall. It was literally just a door you went in. It was nothing. It was cool when
like
you got into it.
Huh? Like a speakeasy.
Well, it was just, we heard music and we saw a door, so we opened it. But there was no windows or, hey,
a modern day speakeasy.
I mean, kind of. I mean, there was no, walk in, we're upstairs, we're here, nothing. It was just a door, and we heard music, so we did it. So
only bottle service. So
the next thing we're like, okay, great. Now we can't even get a drink because they have bottle service. Like, we're gonna, at the time we were drinking, Absolute and cranberry. So are we gonna order a whole fifth? I don't think so. Well, we had to find some people that we could split it with, right? So we started making friends, and we found some other Americans. I want to say they were from Texas. I honestly don't remember. Carol probably remembers because she was talking more to them, and I was talking to a different group of people. So these people said, hey, you know what? We'll buy the bottle if you guys buy the mixers. And we're like, hey, whatever, cool. We don't care,
Right.
So next thing you know, they come over, they serve us. We're all there. A little while goes by. And again, I'm talking to we're all together, but I'm, talking to my left. She's talking to her right to this couple. Well, we didn't know what the deal was with this couple. But before long, Carol's in my ear and telling me that this guy is showing her his one leg. He's got a peg leg, like a prosthetic.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. What? Why? What was that conversation about, that he was showing you his leg? She said he took it off and showed me.
Why?
So, I have no idea why. So anyway, because that's the kind of luck Carol has. That's why. So
get stuck in conversations with people that overshare.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny. Well, you keep asking questions, people are going to keep talking, right? And you're new drinking. Right. So next thing you know, we leave, we decide we want to go someplace else because now we're, whatever, this place is nice, but it's only bottle service. Then we'll have to order another bottle. Let's go. Let's ask around, see where we should go. So we got these people are like, oh yeah, you got to go to this place. And oh, it's so cool. And this and that. So here's Carol and I, we hop in a cab and we're like, okay, here's the address. These people said, take us here. This is the place we're going. We get out and we walk. We asked the cab driver said, do you want me to wait? We're like, no, why would we want you to wait? No, we heard this is the place to be. He's like, well, be careful. Okay. We're like, well, that's not a good sign if he's saying be careful, but we're 3 sheets to the wind. So we're like, let's go try it out. So we walk in this place and it literally was like a cavern. Like there was different like little freaky deek rooms. Like there was a room, like we walked in, there was like couches in this room and people were just like hanging out and not a like sexual thing, but just like
Oh no, that's where my mind went.
no, not like a dungeons thing with not like a bunch of
Not a
swingers.
BDSM
It
room.
wasn't a
No.
swingers dungeon, no.
Good to
So
hear.
so we're like looking at each other. Next thing you know, I mean, then there's some girls kissing before girls were kissing. Okay. There was these girls kissing on the side. And I don't even remember seeing an actual bar. Like we just kept walking and kept seeing all these rooms, right side, left side, different little cavern, it was the strangest thing. And at one point we were like holding arm
And
in
no
arm.
bar.
Huh?
No bar. You haven't found the bar yet.
No, like
there was no bar. It was just like a room.
Well, we didn't find the actual place where they're serving drinks. I mean, we were
right. That's what I mean.
And then I think in our heads we were kind of like, "Whoa, wait a minute! No, wait a minute now! Like before you know it, we're like arm in arm, going, hell no, we are out." So we turned around and ended up, this. Remember, no Uber.
No Uber, no Lyft. Yeah.
Exactly.
You couldn't use your phone. You were in another country, right?
We were in another country. So now we're going to go back upstairs outside the cavern and find a cab from the guy who just asked us if he wanted him to wait. He wanted to wait for us. Now we know why. So now we're going to go back up to the street, half in the bag, looking like 2 strippers on the corner waiting for a taxi cab. So that was probably, we ended up getting back to the hotel safely, but again, probably not the best choice.
Did you ever find those people that recommended that and were like, what the hell were you recommending to us?
Carol probably would remember if it was the guy with the one leg, if it was his group, because we had a feeling that they might have been swingers. But they were from the United States, so I don't know if they would know.
We've met plenty of swingers. It's okay.
But we were in another country, so how would they know about this place? I want to say it was the people who worked at the bar, the people that worked at this, disco or whatever it was that we were at to begin with that recommended it. But yes, I had no reason to see those people again.
Oh, I would want to find them and be like, what part of that was a good idea?
Well, obviously that's what they were into. I didn't want to know.
Some things better left unsaid.
Exactly.
God. Well, totally transitioning after that answer. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I was very young when you went, so I didn't get those juicy stories. So I understand now why. Okay. Fast forward. You get out of the travel agency. You get married. You get pregnant with the best thing that ever happened to you, me. And you started a business. How the hell did you decide to start a business when you're having your first child? Like what? Who does that?
I guess I just have to say sheer freaking boredom. So in all honesty, I went from...
Lay it out.
In all honesty, I went from being from the age of 17 to 24, 25 maybe. I worked for the travel agency Monday through Friday. And at the same time for 2 years, from the time I was 18 to 20 maybe, or in that period, I also worked at my cousin's bar as a bartender from Wednesday through Sunday. So for all that time, I was nonstop. I was, 3-hour a night sleeper, go, constantly doing something. And then every 3 months, I would plan a trip out of the country, because in my head, I always thought, my mom used to always say, well, go wherever you can go before you get married, because you never know when you get married what you're ever going to do. And I said, that's true. So I always thought in my head, I can always travel to the United States, even if I was married, because who cares? I don't have to, it's not going to cost that much money. I can get in a car. I can drive wherever I want. So every 3 months I planned a trip to go out of the country. That was my goal.
Every 3 months?
Every 3 months. Yep.
Jesus.
So by the time I got married, of course, your father had a produce business, and that was obviously his dream and his life, and he loves that to this day. But it wasn't of interest to me. I mean, yes, of course, it put food on our table and paid our bills, but it
Right.
wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't my
What you
life, my
wanted.
dream, my goals. I stopped traveling. I was pregnant for 9 months. I would sit on the couch and read. I would just think to myself all day, how is it well, at that point, I guess I should say I quit my job once I got pregnant. So
Right.
um, at one point, I was just like, I don't understand how people can work the first 3 months of a pregnancy because all you want to do is sleep. So I was just bored out of my mind. Staying home and being Susie Homemaker was not my thing. That's not who we married. That's not who I was. And I was just bored. So,
So you start a business.
so I started a business. And you ask, why the basket business?
Yeah. Because I actually
So,
don't even know the answer to this.
yes, you do. You're just forgetting. Um, Dad has the produce business. So at Christmas time,
Right.
we would do fruit baskets for our customers as a gift.
I don't
You
think
don't
I
know
knew
this?
that.
Really?
I don't know this.
See,
I
you
really
didn't
don't
even
know
listen. You
this.
didn't even listen as a child. See? Here it is. So we used to do these every year we would get together in probably the beginning of December, and we would do these buckets. They're called pecks. They're like a bushel basket.
Yeah.
And there'd be your aunts would come over and, dad, me, and your grandfather, and we'd get a bunch of people to come over and we would cook up a storm and everybody would be in the garage and we'd have a little line
Assembly
going.
line.
Yeah, little
Yeah.
assembly line and making fruit baskets. And we would make a couple hundred of them and they would just give them out. Poppy, your grandfather, would just drive around in the van and he'd just start handing them out to, customers, dishwasher. He didn't care. He just liked doing it. So that's how it started.
Never heard this story.
Yeah. And because it went from fruit baskets, people would ask me if I ever thought about doing any kind of baskets. And then I started doing
Right.
little bigger or more, I guess I should say, besides just there being fruit in it, they would ask for other items in the, gift baskets. And I said, well, I don't know. Let me try it and see what I like. I don't know. I'll try. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing, but I was always crafty and creative. So
Right.
I started buying some baskets and getting some material and putting stuff together. And then the next thing you know, people were like, I asked some of Dad's customers who had businesses, and
Right.
if they would be interested. And that's how it kind of spiraled into that. So I started the business and off we went. The next thing you know, I ended up doing, I don't know, I had about 12 hospitals that I did their gift stores. And I don't know, I had a great time doing it. I still have people ask me to this day. I did it for 15 years.
Yep.
And I still have people to this day ask me if I would do their baskets at Christmas. And I know your father always says, why don't you do it? It's so much, you love doing it. And I really did love doing it, but it was time for a change. And I just decided things were getting complicated with corporations that I had done baskets for that could no longer accept gifts or give gifts.
Right.
So it was becoming a little more complicated. And I just didn't want to do the business at Christmas because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of inventory to get in when you're kind of guessing what you're going to do in numbers.
And what was it like having me running around, having a newborn, and doing this business?
Well, in all honesty, when you were little, I would have people come over sometimes. If you were just there, obviously I was running the business out of the basement, so it wasn't like hey, I was gone. I could hear
Right.
you, and when you were little. So I would have people come over when you got a little older. Sometimes I would bring your swing downstairs in the basement and just let you swing in the swing and hang out with us if we had work to do. But otherwise, sometimes I'd have people come over and hang out with you and babysit during the day. And when Dad got home from work, I would come upstairs and cook dinner or hang out with you for a while. But that's all.
Made it work. Jeez.
Made it work. That's right.
We know Titan's on the dog crying in the background is Titan. We'll say hi to him.
Can you hear him? He's
I
outside.
can hear him.
It's because if I
Just
let him
crying.
in, If I
just
let him in, he probably
sobbing.
wouuld cry, but he's outside. I shut the door, and that's why he's crying, because he can see me.
He can open doors
But he won't
sometimes,
open
but
this one while I'm sitting here.
oh,
Do you want me to
okay.
let him in
It's all good.
so he'll stop crying?
Sure, if you want to let him in, let him in. Okay, so transferring or kind of changing terms on this. So you start your own business, all is great, wonderful. Now, people have asked me, what was I like as a kid? Was I great and wonderful and perfect? That's what I like to think.
I know you like to think so. Yeah, I know you do like to think so. But you know what? Most kids do like to think that. But you were pretty good. You were always a good kid. You were always helpful and sweet and nice. The only time your personality changed slightly was when your brother was born. Then you
Oh,
were a little more jealous, real bossy, real bossy. Like, but you were protective of
that
him.
checks out.
You protected him though. You were always like, you would always make your little scrunchy face, and you would always act like you'd always want to kiss him, and you'd kiss him, and you'd like squeeze him really tight, like you'd put him in a headlock and kiss him, which I know deep inside it wasn't about love. It was about squeeze popping his head off because he was in
Yeah,
your taking up your time.
you just love someone so much. You just squeeze them. I just told Chuck the other day, I love you so much, I want to rip your face off.
Yeah,
Just
so
aggressive love, you know?
that's exactly
Yeah.
the way you were since you were 2 years old.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I say that to my friends. Like, you're just like so pretty. I just want to eat your face, you know? It's just love. It's
That's
just love.
that's the way you are still. Yep, that's the way you always were.
Aggressive love. It's the stubborn Taurus in me, you know? I get it.
It was until that one time when you pushed your brother down the stairs in the
I did not push him down the stairs. His ass fell. True story. So, we're going to tell a story real quick. The rule in our house was my mom would do our laundry when we were growing up. You would do our laundry, and then she'd fold it all nice and wonderful, put it in a basket, and you had to put the basket upstairs where my brother and I had our bedrooms. So Joey, being the pain in the ass that he is, he would never help ever. Like, he would do a little bit and then he'd walk away, and then I would do it all because she would be screaming at us to get her basket back. Fair. She folded our laundry. Great. We deserve the basket back. So I thought it'd be a great idea. And Joey's sitting in the basket, so I can't bring it downstairs.
I mean,
So me
what
being,
the age group? Let's put some age in perspective here.
oh, I don't know.
He was
I mean, I'm
little,
strong enough to hold him.
but he was probably 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was 10. So
Okay,
okay,
so
I'm 8 then.
yeah,
Okay, we'll say 8 to 10, and
yeah,
he's 5 to 7.
right.
So I hold it over the stairs, like, get out. Like, I had control over it.
With
Only
the handle.
the handle broke off, and he went tumbling down the stairs. Now, how the house is set up is the stairs leads to the kitchen. So mom and dad are sitting at dinner and just see their son flying down the stairs, and then my dad immediately screams at me.
Well, because at
And
the bottom of the stairs was a glass door wall. So
glass
straight
door
shot
wall,
out,
right?
yeah, straight shot down the stairs is a door wall. So all I saw in the reflection in the window was him and he didn't tumble. He didn't go head over. He stayed in the basket and just kind of sledded down. He sledded
Yeah.
down the stairs. But he made the last 3 steps were like airborne. So all I saw was his basket flying through the reflection, and he was like 10 inches from the glass door wall.
But he didn't go through it.
Nope, he did not. Because he was too skinny. There wasn't enough weight behind him.
not enough weight behind it. And you knew I didn't do it because you saw me with the handle still in my hand at the top of the stairs, like a deer in the headlights. See?
But he used to get you riled up all the time. He used to try to get on your nerves, and you used to let him. But that's why you pushed him into the Christmas tree. Let's go with that.
Well, he deserved that. He still has a scar from that, guys.
He still has a scar on his face at 25 years old.
Hey, it's okay.
So all
Other
your
things were his fault.
All your listeners who think you're such a good person, there you are.
Hey, the people that listen know I'm not a good person. I'm a genuine person, you know?
You are a good person.
Oh my gosh, is that a compliment?
Yeah,
oh
don't get too many. Take it while you can.
I know. I'm scared to ask the next few questions, but we're going to ask them.
Oh, good.
So, growing up and kind of being at where I'm at right now in my life, did you ever think at any point I would be a business? I mean, I think in first grade I said I wanted to be an archaeologist, and we found old things that I spelled archaeologist right for some reason. I don't remember how I managed to, but changed career paths 80 times. Did you ever at any point think I'd be a business owner? What did you think I would end up doing?
Well, I will say this. We are a lot alike. in a lot of ways. And when I was little, even in probably middle school, always said I wanted to be an archaeologist. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's something that maybe I telepathied you. And
Telepathy. Is that
that's my
even
word.
English?
Oh,
I
that
like it.
you,
Run with it.
yeah, that you wanted to be that. I have no idea. Did I ever think you'd be an entrepreneur? Yeah, I always thought you would do something. I always thought you would do something on your own. I mean, you're still young. Who knows? You could still change career paths still. But I always thought you would for sure do something managing people, because that's what you've always done, is manage people. And that's the same as saying, yeah, you're being bossy. You're a bossy person.
A bossy person. Okay. I like it. Yeah, we had our lemonade stand growing up. We had our entrepreneurial
Yeah.
adventures.
You were always
Sold
thinking of,
bracelets.
yeah. You always wanted to help people. You always wanted to do things and do nice things for people. And I don't necessarily think that it was always about the money. It was about doing stuff. You always like I did. You always you grew up watching me be crafty, not only doing the
Right.
baskets and things like that, but I did craft kind of stuff. If things needed to get done, I'd help people do, put things together if they needed, just different stuff. I think you just have that in you to be that way. That's all. And
Love
I
it.
also taught you
Okay.
to be a very, say what you want to say with some respect behind it, but you'll never get anywhere in life if you don't speak up and you let people walk all over you.
True. That you have said very much.
Yeah.
And be independent. You always said that too. Always
Right.
be independent.
Well, because
Mhm.
why'd I always say that? Who did I tell you told me?
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
So,
Your grandma?
uh-huh. So my grandma used to say, AnnMarie, with her little
AnnMarie.
AnnMarie, she said, she used to say, don't you wait for no man to wipe your ass. You wipe your own ass.
God, I wish I would have met her. Oh.
She was a good one.
Oh, if any of you want to see a picture of her, talk about the original
Be nice.
OG RBF. It's the best one I've ever seen in my life from all these pictures. It's amazing. Oh, that's amazing.
But they were then
Now,
that day though, and back in that day, they were told not to smile. So
I know, but the like don't mess with her in her eyes is like seated. Like it's like, damn, I wouldn't mess with that woman.
yeah, well,
It's
they
great.
went through different times than we did, right?
For sure. Yes, very much so. Just a little bit. Now, fast forward to, because we could talk for hours, of course, but fast forward to me calling you when I got fired because you were the first phone call I made. What was your gut? When we got back from Italy, full circle now that you said Italy was your favorite, what was your immediate reaction? What was your actual reaction when I told you that? Because I'm sure you were being nice and said what you said, but what was actually going through your head?
Hmm. Well, at first I was nervous because I could hear you were crying. So, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh God, what happened? Andrew, you okay? And then you said, I just got fired. And I'm like, okay. I think my first initial reaction was I probably rolled my eyes. I probably rolled my eyes like, oh God, here we go. And then my second reaction, I think, was just pissed because I remember telling you that I would pay you after you told me what happened, I should say. I remember telling you that I would pay for you to sue them for.
No, wrong company. Wrong company.
No, wasn't that what that was?
When the email got sent out, that was
No,
my
no, no, no.
first
That
job.
was different. No, I remember that. Oh yeah, I guess my initial reaction was just like I think I was letting you talk. I did definitely roll my eyes because I was mad that they wanted, that they fired you over something ridiculous. How can you meet your goals when you're on vacation for 2 weeks? It's a little hard. So I was mad about that. No,
A little
Angie, it
bit.
was them. It was them. I said that I would pay for you to sue them because I thought you had a wrongful suit against them. They fired you for saying you didn't meet your goals when you had a planned vacation for 2 weeks.
Right.
So you don't remember because you were distraught.
I was very distraught. That is for sure. No, and if you've listened to other podcasts, what I'm talking about with the email, the first job I ever worked out of college, the owner of the company sent out a nasty email about me to all employees when I put in my 2-week notice after belittling me for 2 hours. So that's where my mind went. But if I forgot what episode, I brought it up a few times if you've been listening to this podcast. But yes. Yep. And then you said that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
You're
I,
right.
I think that was my initial reaction, was just like, oh, can't wait to hear this story. So then you told me what happened, and you were crying and sobbing and hyperventilating, and I'm like thinking in my head, seriously, like, get your crap together and move on. So so I let you,
So mean.
I let you take a little breather there, and I said, well, think about it, Ange, think about it. And I think you wanted to call Chuck, or you wanted to call somebody and tell them what happened. So we got off the phone, and then I don't know, maybe an hour later, I think I called you back, or you called me back, and I'm like, are you done crying now? And you said, yeah, I am. I'm just really sad. And I said, listen, this is a blessing in disguise. You hated your job. You hated working for those people. So you loved helping people, and you were already helping people on the side who were applying for jobs with that company. And
Right.
I mean, I remember all the time you were saying, "Oh my gosh, if you change this on your resume, you'll get the job. Don't worry about it." And then they would say, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing." And you would say, "Well, just let me do it. Give me 5 minutes. Let me just change it for you." And you would change it for them and send them on their way. So I finally just said, "You know what? Pull up your big girl panties and get your shit together, because it's time to move on. Like, do it. Do it for yourself. This is the time to do it." And that same day, you went and registered your name for your business, and here you are.
Here we are. Yeah, definitely was. And then one thing you missed that you did say that stuck with me was you said you long sighed, which I'm sure now that I didn't see your face, you were eye rolling, but you said, I had a feeling. I had a feeling this morning that something was going to happen with your job. I
Yep.
don't know why. I just had a feeling. And we're all about our feelings. That's a whole other podcast in and of itself.
A mother knows.
The mother knows. She does.
A
But
mother knows. But
she
it
does.
was the best thing that could have happened to you, because being in that
Preach.
situation would have kept weighing you down. You would have kept doing stuff on the side to help people out, and never getting ahead for yourself.
Oh, for sure. No, it was devastating for sure. I think it wasn't even I was sad over the job. I think it was more my pride was hurt that
Right.
me of all people was fired from a job when I worked nights and weekends and sick days and whatnot. That
Right.
looking back, I'm like, don't be an idiot like me, people. Please. Been there, done that.
Well, I
But
mean,
yeah, it was more pride
you're
for
young,
sure.
and I think that, you were learning the business, and I think you gave people the benefit of the doubt, and finally, like most people do, and
Hmm.
like you should. I mean, in all reality, you should give people the benefit of the doubt, but
Right.
you were in that situation for a long period of time, where it was time that you got a reality check, that
Hmm. It's
when you
not
work for.
sunshines and rainbows.
Right, exactly. Not everybody gets trophies, and not everybody should.
And I went above my boss's head, and that didn't I think that was also my final nail in the coffin was I did what you did, only things didn't change like they did for you. So
Exactly.
I got fired.
Right, exactly. I just looked at my boss and said, "Okay, Felicia, I'll just move on," and did it behind his back.
Onward and upward. Sorry.
And sometimes that's the only way you're going to get ahead.
Well, it's fun. Like we can laugh about this now 3 years what? Yeah, it'll be 3 years in August,
Yeah.
but we can laugh about this now. Couldn't laugh for a few months. Now I'm like, screw it, I got fired. Like all the best people get fired. Like it's fine. It's all good.
Well,
But
it worked out for you. So it doesn't always work out for everybody, but it did work out for you. And sometimes you got to just run with it and see what happens, and say you at least tried to do it, and if it didn't work out, you move on.
you do. Well, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. We're a very long podcast, but any closing remarks, any words of advice to listeners or anything? We have a wide variety with listeners from young to old in between.
Any words of advice? Boy, I don't know what I
Yeah.
would what topic
Oh,
I
come on. What's your favorite quote you always say?
Oh, I don't know. My grandma used to. Oh, Tights is mad. My grandma used
He's
to say,
mad.
"Should or get off the pot, let somebody else on." But at me, I didn't say that.
No, fat, stupid, and drunk is no way to go through life.
Oh,
Come on.
that's true. Amen, sister. That is the truth. That is the truth. That's from Animal House.
I know it's from, well, that should be bonus of anyone that knows that movie.
Right.
You know?
That really shows my age there too, right? Fat, stupid, and drunk is no way to go through life.
No way to go through life. Right. It's classic line. But, well, thank you so much. I love you dearly. And thanks for coming on.
Yep, I love you too. You've done good, and you just keep on trucking, girl.
Oh, thank you so much.
If you're looking for a career change and you're not sure where to start, the Resume Rescue can help. Sure, there's no such thing as the perfect fit for everyone, but here at the Resume Rescue, we're on a mission to find the perfect solution for you. Whether it's changing careers, updating a resume, learning LinkedIn, or practicing interviewing, we have you covered. Find us online at theresumerescue.com and find all of our contact info in our show notes.